Of the myriad creatures that walk this earth, one beautiful and majestic beast grips our emotions and taunts our dreams above all others. Predacious lord of the wild, the tiger rules a shrinking domain. With every passing year, its numbers dwindle. By century's end, the inspiration for poet William Blake may be gone forever. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. In nature, the tiger reigns supreme in the forests and grasslands of Asia. Camouflaged by his stripes and stalking his prey, the powerful predator is indeed an awesome sight. Mainly solitary creatures, tigers remain with their mother for the first 2 years. At 16 months, they are almost fully developed and can kill prey, but are not yet skilled hunters. Adult tigers need about 12 pounds of meat every day to survive. Yet only once in 20 tries does a hunt end in a kill. In her 15 years of life in the wild, a female may produce 5 litters, an average of 2 or 3 each time. The helpless cubs depend on their mother's milk for the first 8 weeks. Male cubs grow faster than their sisters and tend to be more adventurous. Male tigers play no part in raising their young. Contact between adult males and females exists only at the barest minimum level of biological necessity. Some cubs will die in natural disasters like drought, fire, or disease. Many will be killed by poachers or other predators. Only about half will survive to mature and reproduce. Only 100 years ago, tigers roamed wild and free across most of Asia, perhaps 100,000 or more. 3 subspecies are gone forever, and 2 others barely survive. Today, only about 7,000 of the great cats remain, isolated in shrinking pockets in Siberia, Southeast Asia, India, and Nepal. In the 1970s, India and Nepal banned tiger hunting and turned the hunting estates into national parks. Creating these sanctuaries helped save many other creatures, among them the one-horned Asian rhino, even more endangered than the tiger. But now the parks themselves are threatened. On their borders, land that once was forest is crowded with people and livestock, and the shadow of the tiger draws ever closer. Man-eaters are a constant fear. Although it is illegal, the people venture into the park in search of fuel and pasture, and they run the risk of fatal encounters with tigers. Surrounded by a rising tide of humanity, the tiger's available range is steadily shrinking. A single male Bengal tiger needs about 24 square miles in which to hunt and find mates. But with increasing human pressure on the borders reducing the number of prey, the tigers retreat to the central area of the park. When a female comes into season, males often fight. Losers are forced to retreat toward the park boundaries where natural prey is sparse. Injured or old tigers may turn man-eater, and close by is an abundant supply of food. A huge man-eater has been trapped and brought to Kathmandu Zoo. He has killed 3 people in Barja National Park. The latest victim, a young girl. Dr. Charles McDougall, one of the world's foremost authorities on tiger behavior, heads the investigation.
Well, this is a very old tiger. He has obviously survived many a battle, and it's a miracle he has survived this long in the wild.
It quickly becomes apparent to the zoo's veterinary team that the tiger's right leg had been broken, leaving it partially crippled. They believe this is the main reason he turned man-eater. His primary hunting weapons, the canine teeth, are broken or missing. Even his claws are gone, perhaps ripped out in a fight with a stronger rival.
If any tiger was ever a candidate for a man-eater, this was the one. It's obvious that he has been in many a territorial fight. He had managed to survive, but some more vigorous animal had, pushed him out to the periphery in a very precarious position, and he had no option but to kill livestock, and if people were there, he killed them too.
A victim of man-made pressures, unable to survive in his natural habitat, he resorted to the easiest prey of all, mankind. He will live out his days in the Kathmandu Zoo. In the national park, a new crisis. Dr. McDougall has heard reports that a second tiger, a female, also fed on the last victim's body. The tigress is still at large, and McDougall must determine whether she too is a man-eater. Approaching the blood-stained location, the victim's uncle tells McDougall how he and his niece were cutting grass and gathering it into bundles.
तपाईले बाघ आउने अगाडि आवाज सुनेको थिएन थिएन पानीमा झप्लिन्छ पानीमा झप्ला जाउन गरे आ छोरीले सुनि मलाई पनि
He says that all happened very fast. He heard what he thought might be a domestic elephant crossing the river. Then suddenly a huge tiger leaped out of the grass directly onto the young girl and knocked her down. He said there was nothing he could do.
With the tiger population being in critical condition, we don't want to lose a reproductive female from the population. So we'd like to investigate this thing thoroughly to find out just what's going on. Keep an eye out for tracks on the road here, okay?
Yeah, I'll be watching. We should see your tracks after we cross this patch.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, here's a good track. see it's not overlapped, right? The forefoot still shows that it's got that offset toe.
McDougal first must try to identify the footprints of the suspected tigress.
I mean, see, this tigress was not in on the last kill that was made. It was only the male that did the killing, and he was sent to Kathmandu. But the male and female were in association at the time of the first two kills. Didn't find any tracks because the area was disturbed, but there is a likelihood that she was involved in the two killings.
McDougal's need to find the female is urgent. He knows villagers often poison suspected man-eaters. Fear grips the village. 3 people have been killed, and they dread another attack. A holy man makes offerings to the gods for protection from the man-eating tiger that prowls the woods just beyond their homes. He prays that the tiger will not strike again. Religion, myth, and legend combine to temper grim reality. Some believe that by eating human flesh, the tiger takes possession of the souls of the victims. And so the man-eater walks with its head bent low, weighed down by its victims' ghosts. Tales are told of tigers disguised as men and humans who turn into the big striped cats. Thus, children are made aware of the dangers that surround them. And while they are taught to fear the tiger as a clever and ruthless predator, they must also respect him as a powerful forest god. Next day at dawn, tiger expert Charles McDougal mounts a full-scale search for the suspected man-eating tigress. He hopes that he will find her strong and healthy, capable of filling her role as a vital predator in nature's scheme of things. With a team of experienced trackers and 9 elephants, he combs the dense bush looking for signs of the great cat. After several frustrating hours, trackers find the first significant clue. A freshly killed antelope, brought down by one fatal bite. Paw prints identify the killer as the tiger they've been hunting. She was here only moments ago. The traditional beat cloth method, once used in the slaughter of thousands of tigers, is now put to work for conservation. If alarmed, the tigress may strike without warning or escape before she can be surrounded. Dr. McDougal feels that it's essential to get a good sighting and orders the drive to begin. The tiger's sprint to freedom across an open field convinces McDougall of her vigorous good health.
Did either of you see the tigress? How did she look?
She seems to be in a fine shape, no limp, very healthy.
You saw it too?
No limp.
I mean, looked all right, huh? Good. Okay, that's good. Good news.
Dr. McDougall can now reassure the frightened villagers. Days later, after many hours of cautious tracking, the team discovers that their tigress has a family. No man-eater, she is instead a doting and protective mother. Though nearly full-grown, her cubs still depend on her for food and security. Even at this age, without her, they would die. Were it not for Dr. McDougall and his team, this family might have been destroyed. But not all tigers are as fortunate. Rare film made in Sumatra in 1986 reveals the fate of many tigers even today. Killing a female takes not only her life, but also condemns any cubs she may have. Although the poachers may make only a few dollars for their work this day, it will be enough to support a family for months. The dealers who employ them make the real profits. Tiger bones and skin fetch thousands of dollars in traditional Chinese medicine shops around the world. It's all based on a belief that sick or aging humans can revitalize their weakened organs by consuming the flesh and bone of powerful beasts. Thus is a beautiful wild animal quickly and skillfully reduced to the raw materials of a sordid trade. To be wrapped in plastic and made ready for market. For millennia, man's imagination has endowed the tiger with supernatural powers. Today, Asia's great predator has fallen prey to legend and myth that men who consume the tiger's flesh and bone will enrich their own puny bodies with the awesome strength and virility of the great cat. The race goes on to save the tiger and restore it to its rightful throne as Lord of the Wild. For more than 4,000 years, tiger parts have been prized ingredients of Chinese traditional medicines. With growing prosperity in the People's Republic and business booming in Taiwan and Korea, many more can afford to pay black market prices. Belief in tiger magic is still deeply entrenched, and demand is high. Every part of the tiger, from nose to tail, has its prescribed uses. Whiskers for toothache, bone for rheumatism, nose for epilepsy, eyeballs for malaria and cataracts, fat for hemorrhoids, tail for skin disease. Tiger blood strengthens willpower. Tiger hair drives away centipedes. And tiger penis soup boosts virility. or so they say. In Taiwan, it may cost up to $320 a bowl. With demand so high, the question has been raised, why not farm tigers for their parts, like cattle or pigs? Just the thought outrages animal lovers. To fulfill continued demand in the face of a diminishing supply, it is alleged the Chinese government set up the Harbin Breeding Center in Manchuria. Officially, its mission is to raise tigers for release into the wild. But undercover investigations report that this is actually a tiger farm, breeding for the medicine market. There are no documented findings that tigers have been reintroduced into the wild. At the center's laboratory, preserved tiger cubs hint of animal experiments to increase productivity. Skeletons in storage perhaps await the day of the tiger's extinction, when prices most certainly will skyrocket. The current generation of tigers faces a grim future. They're threatened every day by exploding human populations that destroy more of Asia's wilderness. Even protected in nature preserves, tigers face a grim future. Without access to a viable gene pool, wild tigers will inbreed and over time disappear. Racing against the clock, wildlife experts around the world search for solutions, such as conjugal visits by tigers of diverse origins. The big cats breed easily in zoos. Today, more Siberian and Chinese tigers live in captivity than in the wild. If inbreeding is prevented, their future seems secure. But zoo tigers cannot replenish the wild populations. Raised in captivity, they have never learned to hunt, and in the wild would quickly starve or turn man-eater. So then, what can be done to improve the gene pool of tigers in the wild?
Sternum back to the pelvis.
Surgical experiments at Henry Dorley Zoo in Omaha, Nebraska pursue a radical course. An anesthetized Sumatran tiger is prepared for artificial insemination. Semen has already been collected and examined for quality in the zoo laboratory. If it is acceptable, some will be used for the operation, the rest will be stored in a sperm bank. Still in its infancy with tigers, this technique is being developed in the hopes that someday it can be used to introduce fresh genes into the populations of wild tigers threatened with inbreeding.
The other ovary right there. Okay, got it, Ani?
Yeah.
You're okay right there. Back up, Ani.
Yeah, there are a few follicles, but not many. There are 4 really nice red CLs.
We're doing insemination now. We have the catheter in the uterus. Now the semen is being injected into the center of the uterus.
Good, good.
The next day, the doctor visits his patient.
She's recovering pretty well. Take her about 36 hours to get back to normal. And we've done this surgery about 18 or 19 times, repetitions. We've had a success one time.
This attempt also failed to produce a pregnancy, but valuable lessons have been learned and the work goes on. The Omaha Zoo, like many others, has bred tigers naturally. It also has succeeded with in vitro technique, so-called test tube fertilization. This big male, however, is the world's first and only tiger produced through artificial insemination. A full-blooded Siberian, he will never see his genetic homeland. One of two subspecies in greatest danger of extinction, the Siberian is the largest of all tigers. A full-grown male may be 4 meters long, stand over 1 meter high at the shoulder, and weigh up to 320 kilograms. A long, thick coat protects against the freezing temperatures of their native habitat. According to one widely held theory, tigers evolved in Eastern Asia millions of years ago. As the Earth warmed after the last ice age, subspecies evolved, with shorter, darker coats and smaller body size. Only about 200 Siberian tigers remain in the wild. But even if their habitat is preserved and poaching stopped, there just aren't enough to avoid inbreeding. A grim fact that gives added poignancy to hopes of saving tigers in the wild. In Ashland, Oregon, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service operates the world's only animal forensics laboratory. Its mission? Develop techniques to help fight wildlife crimes. As one of the most endangered species, the tiger gets high priority. Comparison with museum samples helps lab expert Bonnie Yates determine whether confiscated items are either fake or real.
Any objects purportedly made from tigers come to us for identification, and then if they are indeed from tigers, they would be seized. If they're not, they're returned.
Thousands of contraband items have been analyzed. Pills and plasters, ointments and wines. As a symbol of vigor and strength, the tiger sells. Tiger artifacts sold as good luck charms claim special powers. But here too, fraud abounds. Advanced techniques help identify obscure samples, suspected of coming from endangered species. Chemical analysis has revealed that many purported tiger medicines contain no tiger at all. Some use mercury, lead, and other toxins.
One of our missions is to educate the public on the plight of the tiger and to show things like this poor head, which has patches of different kinds of fur. Some of its teeth are made of wood. This is actually the lower teeth of a leopard, and it's really a fairly ugly looking thing.
In one sense, survival of the big striped cat seems assured. They will live as long as humans like to watch the playful kittens and see them as overgrown versions of domestic house pets. Protected and adequately fed, they will continue to reproduce. And with the aid of airplanes and computerized stud books, their gene pool will remain healthy. Although they will survive, will they still be tigers? Free to roam their forest kingdoms? Or will they fade to faint shadows of the magnificent creatures that used to be? In the natural realm of the tiger, Dr. Charles McDougall continues his lifelong struggle to keep the tiger roaming free through the forests of Asia. filling its vital role as predator in the ways nature intended. Every year, burgeoning humanity encroaches on the tiger's realm, and a noted wildlife expert asks, what will it say about the human race if we let the tiger go extinct? What can we save? Can we save ourselves? In the last 100 years, thousands of species vanished from the earth. Will the great striped cat be next?